Hi, my name is Louise Dawe,
I'm Tiffany Kinnibrugh.
and we're your poster co-chairs for the ACA 2020 meeting. And we know that giving virtual posters is something that's new for a lot of people. And so we prepared a couple of slides to give you a few pointers about how to engage with our conference. Okay, so the things that we're going to have a quick chat about here today are simply why would you give us a poster presentation, some suggestions about how to lay out your poster, and then some tips about what will be associated with the oral component of your presentation at this meeting. So Uh, I'm going to start at the end. So the first thing to note is that with respect to how you're submitting this poster for this conference, it may be a little bit different than what you've done in the past. So we're asking you to prepare a poster as per normal. So a single PowerPoint slide or a single PDF. And it's normal to format these so that they are 4 feet wide by 3 feet long. And so it would still be your normal poster. And we're asking you, associated with your poster, to actually embed the oral component that you would normally have. So if you were going to give an overview to someone visiting your poster, that's actually going to be embedded in your file. And Tiffany's going to talk about how to go about doing that in a little bit. Once you've got either your PDF with a separate audio file, or you've got your PowerPoint slide with the embedded audio ready, then you are going to submit it to the ACA's poster gallery. And as a poster presenter, you got instructions that were sent to you by email about how to go about doing that. So the reason it's going to be hosted in a poster gallery is because with people in lots of different time zones, people are going to be able to view your poster in a way that works for their schedule. And so your poster will be hosted in the gallery, which is only accessible to people who are members of the ACA. And it'll actually be hosted there for up to 2 weeks after the conference. So for that reason, it's actually going to be really important that you make sure to include your contact information, like your email address on your poster, because people are going to want to be able to contact you afterwards. And the final point is that you have been assigned to a poster session. So there will be 4 poster sessions. Each will last 1 hour. And in that poster session, you'll be invited to a Zoom meeting, just like what Tiffany and I are doing right now is a Zoom meeting. And once you get to that Zoom meeting, there'll actually be a separate breakout room that our volunteer host will send you to. So you'll have your own breakout room where you'll be able to display your poster, and meeting attendees will actually be sent to see your poster in your breakout room. So there'll be an opportunity for you to interact, to share your screen, to show someone your work, to talk with them. But if people aren't able to attend that 1 hour oral opportunity, then we will have your poster still on display so that they can contact you afterwards. So lots of good opportunities here. So these slides will also be posted. I know that you can just see them now, but I've actually got some links here that if you just access the PowerPoint slides instead of this recording, you'll be able to click on the links. And 2 of these links, the second and the fourth one, actually include downloadable templates. So if you're sort of stuck with where to start in terms of how to make a poster, there are good resources that are available to you. So I used a lot of these resources in preparing this presentation, as did Tiffany. And so a couple of just general points about posters is that they're a way of communicating your results. They are a mix of a paper presentation and an oral presentation. They should be able to convey your research findings without discussion. So that's going to be important here, because while you'll have an opportunity to include a 3-minute audio, you'd also like for an audience to be able to see your results, understand and interpret what you have achieved, but then if they'd like to have some discussion, they can follow up with you later. And you're not going to be able to cram all of your research onto a single poster. If you have reviewed the poster that I supplied from when I was a student in 2008 and presented at the ACA, someone really should have told me that. Just pick 2 or 3 key points to tell a story. We know you've done a lot of work. You don't need to put all your work on your poster. So, why a poster presentation as opposed to an oral presentation? There are actually a lot of advantages to giving a poster, in particular at this year's meeting. So first of all, the fact that your poster is going to be displayed for 2 weeks after the conference means that there is an extended period of time for your poster to get attention, to facilitate networking opportunities, and while a lot of that will take place offline, so not face-to-face the way you'd normally have at a conference, the extra time really will provide additional opportunities that you might not normally have if you were just giving a 10 to 15 minute oral presentation. Next thing, you'll be forced to have your poster finished well in advance. So this may actually decrease some of the pressure and stress you're feeling associated with presentations, because once you have your poster finished, and we're asking you to have it submitted to our abstract site by July 24th, because we actually need time to organize the poster gallery. So as of July 24th, you're done with your poster. You'll actually, it would be great if you came for the 1 hour presentation to explain to attendees a little bit more about your work, but the hard part will be done well ahead of the conference. If you're nervous about public speaking in front of a large audience, you might actually find that if you're just at home recording your oral component by yourself, and then you have one-on-one discussions in a breakout room with attendees, that this takes a little bit of pressure off you. Maybe in the future you'll be interested in giving a talk at an ACA conference. We'd love that. But this might be a good introduction to that type of presentation. And finally, you can do whatever you like with your poster. Under normal circumstances, if you had a printed poster, you'd probably take it home and put it on the wall in your research building. I've actually had students that have taken it home and put it on the wall in their bedroom. So this time you've got a virtual poster, and even though out of respect for our meeting attendees, we'll be hosting your poster in a login only gallery. If you want to tweet your poster, we've actually got a lot of meeting hashtags that you can choose from. And so this is an opportunity to engage a much wider audience in the science that you're doing. Okay, so just a little quick overview of what's on a poster. So generally, a poster follows the same format as your paper. So you'd have your title, author, affiliations with contact information, super important for this meeting, introduction, objectives, materials, results discussion, conclusion, references, acknowledgements. The one thing I always point out to my students is that you would generally not include an abstract, because your poster is kind of like an abstract of your full paper and research anyway. This is actually one of the templates that's available from Colin Purrington's website. And you can see that it's got a very clear division between the different sections. They are labeled, and there's good use of white space. So it's not like this entire poster is crammed full of information. You would carefully select what you wanted to present here. Now, as chemists, crystallographers, physicists, STEM scientists, this is how we've been giving posters forever. But in the last 2 years, there's sort of been a big poster revolution in science, inspired by how can we do a better job of communicating our results to people that are not experts in our own subfield. And so you'll note that this revolution in style still actually has the same components. So you'll see on your slide, on this slide again, that there is still a place where you would put your title, your affiliations, an introduction, methods, results, results, but there is a strong emphasis in the middle with a different background, larger font, and fewer but larger results to draw people in so that they understand what is the key thing that you are trying to communicate. And then along the two sides are smaller points that elaborate on what are your main findings. So again, these slides will be posted so that you can view them without our commentary. And the link for the template for this poster is available as well if you're interested in trying it out. So with respect to how to make a poster, it doesn't have to look like every other poster. So there's lots of different formats that you could consider, lots of creative things that you could do to present your results. But in all cases, there is a common element of the use of white space for organization and careful decisions made about exactly how much information you are presenting. Okay, so a few technical things about how to make your poster. Many of you may have already made posters. You might have a preferred way to go about doing it. One workflow would be in Microsoft PowerPoint. There are templates quite standard available for PowerPoint as a starting point. Once you have your program selected, I always like to recommend that the first thing that you do is that you size your slide to the actual dimensions for the poster that you'd like to present. This is because you want to make sure that everything fits on your poster before it is completed. So again, under design and slide size in Microsoft, you'll be able to set your poster dimensions. And since we're using Zoom for our poster time, you should make sure that you are going to be presenting your work in landscape orientation instead of portrait orientation, just because you'll have more room on your screen because most of our screens are formatted in a landscape manner. The next thing is you should introduce a grid onto your poster. Again, there are instructions from Microsoft PowerPoint under View, how you can insert grid lines, color scheme and background. Your university might have a template that you'd like to use. You should avoid dark backgrounds. Sometimes it can make it challenging to design graphics that stand out. And in terms of selecting a font, it's generally recommended that your headings are sans serif. So this font that I am using here is sans serif, but oftentimes if you've got a body of text, people find it a little bit easier if you are using a serif font. So that would be something like Times New Roman, though on posters that may not be the most attractive. Finally, make sure you've got a font size that can be read by your audience. If you view your poster at 100% and you step away from the screen, are you still able to read your poster? And note that when people are just viewing your poster from the gallery, they will have the ability to download it. So if there's something there, like a graph that has a lot of results on it, they'll be able to zoom in on it themselves. But for the synchronous time, you're a little bit limited with respect to what you can zoom in on and see because you'll be presenting as though it was just a regular PowerPoint presentation. So I've been to a few virtual conferences, and what I've seen work effectively for people is if they take their dense results, graphs, figures, things that normally you and whoever you're presenting with would really lean in to look at. If you make a separate slide, like a backup slide, you can actually advance to your backup slide while you're presenting your poster during the synchronous 1 hour time so that people can get a good look at what you've been working on. Okay, so I am turning this now over to Tiffany to give us some information about how to engage with the oral component.
So with the meeting going virtual, we wanted to be able to incorporate an audio component to the presentation. And so this allows you as a presenter to highlight your research and to direct the listeners to different portions of your presentations and important topics that you may want to highlight. There are some considerations when you're submitting your recording. One is that the audio must not exceed 3 minutes. Second, if you want to be considered for a poster, award, then the audio must be included when you submit your poster. In addition, there are 2 different ways of submitting your audio. One is a separate recording that you would send in with your poster. And the second one that we highly recommend is embedding your audio in the poster itself. On the left or on the right, you also see an image of what the poster overlay will look like on the website. And what an attendee would do is they're going to double click on the image of the poster, and that's going to enlarge it. The attendee can then look over your presentation or over your poster, and then when they want, they can actually listen to the audio and then zoom in on the areas that you direct them to as you're presenting. Next slide. Oh, a little too far. So to help you with preparing a 3-minute presentation, which can be challenging, there's actually competitions about these as well. There are a variety of websites out there. The one on the corner is a very useful website to look at. It's very instructive. But to prepare your presentation, you want to provide an understanding of the background and significance of the research question that's being addressed. And you don't want to try to explain the terminologies or definitions, because you only have 3 minutes to present or give an overview of your presentation. And you want to try to clearly describe the impact of the results and of the research, and to include conclusions and outcomes of the research. And you want to try to present in a clear and logical sequence. You want to try to communicate in a language that's appropriate to a wide range of audience, because there may be some different areas, different viewers coming in, because they're going to be, your poster's going to be up a little bit longer, so you have more time to look at all the posters. And you also want to make sure that you spend adequate time on each element of your presentation. You don't want the presentation to feel rushed. You want to make sure that, and so therefore you don't want to squeeze in too much information. And you want to make sure that you don't linger on one topic. You want to make sure that you are talking about all the different significant points about your presentation. And since you are recording this at home, you have multiple times that you can try to do it. And so you want to, when you're reviewing your audio, you want to ask a couple questions. You want to say, does your presentation meet these objectives? Does the presentation make the audience want to know more? And were you enthusiastic when you did your research or presenting your research? And did you maintain a steady pace? In addition, you can have some of your colleagues also review your audio if you want another opinion as well. Next slide. So these are the instructions for embedding an audio in a PowerPoint slide. And what you're going to do is you're going to select the Insert tab that is on your left, and then when you move over to the right, you'll see that there's an audio portion. And if you select audio record, and then if you hit next, a little box will pop up. This box has several options. You can record, you can stop, and you can play. So initially you're going to record your audio, and then when you're done with your audio, you can hit stop and replay your audio. If you're satisfied with your audio, then you can select OK. If you're not, then you can just hit re-record again, and you can continue doing this cycle until you're satisfied with your audio. Next. There are several options that you can do. So if you right-click on the audio icon that will appear on your poster, the first option is trim. This allows you to trim a little bit from the beginning and trim some from the end. So especially if you're limited on time and you have a little dead space, you can trim those portions. The second option is style. Now this allows you to, there's several different styles, but the style that we recommend is no style. This allows an attendee to view your poster and then play the audio. And that's very nice when you actually just kind of want to absorb what is in the poster before you actually listen to what someone is going to tell you about. With that, the next slide. So we just kind of have some final thoughts for the overall presentations. One is there is going to be a breakout room, and we really hope that you attend it. However, there's a lot of breakout rooms all at once, and so we encourage you to introduce yourself to the attendees in your breakout room and ask them if they would like to discuss your work. Now, this is no reflection if the person says no. This most likely jumped into the wrong room, or something went wrong. So it has nothing, there's no reflection upon you at all. The second thing is, as in for any conference, you have to consider, is this the right time to present your work to the world? Maybe I should publish it first before I do my presentation. Again, with any conference, however, with a virtual conference, the posters will be up a little bit longer. They are, again, on access only to attendees. However, again, there's more access to them for a longer amount of time. In addition, since you're not physically at a conference, you can't exchange emails all the time, so you should definitely put an email or your email contact on the poster. So this allows people to contact you later, especially with questions. And again, if you have any questions, contact both Louise and I, and we'd be very happy to answer any of your questions. And we really are excited to see your presentations.
Yeah. So that's it from Tiffany and I for today. But again, our contact information is on the website. It's in the PowerPoint slides. And if you do want to follow up with us, we'll be happy to make sure that we get answers to your questions, because we want all of you to have a positive experience.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Good luck with your posters.
Yep, good luck.
Good luck. Okay.